Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s giving their perspective on the games that we love and the story behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Seven time is the perfect try, right?
Yeah. Well, so I've heard. Not in where I'm from, though.
Exactly. Well, tonight we're joined by special guest Andrew Meads, a rehab specialist for the WNBA in Chicago. Thanks for being on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's in the Blazers.
Whoa. No way that happens. There's no way.
He's back.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. But to start things off, the Nuggets and the Blazers had a tight contest. The Nuggets were up by 17, and the Blazers they make a furious rally. CJ McCollum has 37. Evan Turner has a really good game, 14 points, and the Nuggets, the perimeter shooting isn't as effective as it usually is, and the Nuggets gets the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2000. Andrew, what were your thoughts on this game for Portland, and also like how do you foresee the future for the Nuggets?
Well, the Trailblazers weren't going to lose that game, and that's how I just felt they had a plan, and it was a close game. They only won by 4 points, but they were ready to go to the conference finals. So,
yeah.
Future for them. I'm currently watching them play the
Warriors,
and this is tough. They're a good team, though. They're a good team.
Yeah, and Savon, with the Nuggets, the core with Murray, Jokic, and Gary Harris. I mean, obviously it was really strong. Jokic had another strong performance. 29 and 13. In terms of them, just coming up short with a game 7 at home in the second round, and how they were kind of able to, with the game 4 win against San Antonio, then the game 4 win against Portland, they were always able to respond to adversity. How do you kind of foresee the future for them, as this is a young team that is, it's kind of on the precipice of, maybe even going further in the playoffs?
I think they just build from what they have now. We talked about multiple things with the Nuggets, how inconsistent they were, but they showed up when they had to. They really stepped up in big games. They lost by 4, as Andrea said, but I think you take from that, we can build on Jokic. If Murray continues to be consistent, we can build on him and get younger guys in the draft. You still have a veteran guy, Millsap. You have Gary Harrison, who kind of came out of nowhere in my vantage point, and he had big minutes, big points for them as well. So they just continue to build off what they had. Last year, it's the same way. We thought, we didn't know what kind of team they were going to be this year. They kind of showed people, okay, we could be number 1 in the West if we wanted to, or are we going number 2? They proved a lot of people wrong and a lot of people right. I know it's kind of like it's 50-50. But for me, they proved me wrong, because I didn't think they were going to get out of the first round of playoffs, to be honest with you. But to actually go and fight against a well-talented Trailblazer team, that it says a lot about that squad. Jokic is going to be a great star for years to come. So they just build off what they have now and just be more consistent, so they don't have to, get in these grudge matches and stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And Jokic, I mean, this was a top 5 MVP candidate. I mean, played as a top 5 MVP candidate for most of the year. In terms of one of the players that you guys feel as though maybe needs to take more of because Jamal Murray, like he can be on and off, like we talked about this multiple times, Savon. Andrew, is there a certain player that you feel like outside of Jokic maybe needs to take more of a quantum leap the next season?
I honestly couldn't tell you, because I don't keep up with the Nuggets as much as.
Yeah, that Denver Nuggets. She doesn't care about you guys.
Exactly. She's like, I'm
keeping up
good.
with the Denver
We're
Nuggets.
talking about
I
Sixers
don't know
and
how to
Raptors.
build a team around that. They can. Okay, y'all really thought at the beginning of the season that this team was going to be where they were in the playoffs like this, how do you move forward from that? I don't know. They just need to keep doing what they were doing.
What they're doing, yeah.
They were doing some behind the scenes stuff and built a team.
Some witchcraft, some voodoo.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm being honest.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like with this team, Savon, like they're able to go, I think, further than most expected, because most people felt as though they weren't like a legitimate 2 seed, because for most of the year they were kind of vouching for that 1 seed. And to me, honestly, I feel like this is, even though it's disappointing they didn't get to the conference finals having home court advantage for the first 2 rounds, I mean, I still feel as though it's kind of a little encouraging that they were able to kind of validate them being like a 2 seed.
True. And then
yeah,
with Michael Porter Jr. being out as
that's
fast as he was, that's another piece that would have played a major role for them to give them that oomph over the Trailblazers. Now he's coming back, and you get some other guys through the free agency or the draft. I think you just add to that, because like I didn't expect them to go as far as they did in the playoffs. But now that I see what type of team they are, and they step up when it matters most, and you have Porter Jr. coming back off the injury, hopefully he's fully 100% next year, the sky's the limit for these guys. And you just add to that, continue to add to it. But, it's easier said than done. It's so hard to repeat the type of success you had this season before. So they have a lot cut out for them.
Yeah. Transitioning to the Raptors and Sixers, the Raptors win by 2, and Savon, I'd say maybe the most dramatic. I'd probably say the most dramatic game winner I've seen in a while.
In a while,
with Kawhi shot over Embiid in the corner, and the Raptors are able to win by 2. And Kawhi, he has 41 points. Takes 39 shots, and Embiid had 21 and 11. And it felt as though one of those games where if it went into overtime, there may have been concern about could Kawhi, stay fresh and, be able to continue to carry the load that he was carrying. But Andrew, what were your thoughts on the Raptors, just thrilling win, and also the future for the Sixers with, free agency with Butler and Harris, and all the implications, especially now with Brett Brown staying?
First of all, that shot was amazing. Yeah. That man dribbled out of a double team. He wasn't passing the ball. He was not passing the ball. And to take that shot, and wow, okay, everybody thinks it, but like that's just crazy as a basketball person. Mm-hmm. As far as, and then I like your point, as going into overtime, I don't think that
the Sixers probably would have won.
Yeah, I think the Sixers definitely would have had, because they have so many options to have just Kawhi. I mean, deal with another, more minutes of that game. I don't know. So I'm glad that it ended when it ended. As far as the Sixers, I don't know. I think it's gonna take a lot of conversations if they want to. We're talking about building around teams, I guess. Who they want to really, be the face. There's a lot of players on that team, and there's not enough basketballs to go around. I feel like there's not.
That's what it seemed like, because the last 3 possessions, it was like almost shot clock violations for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Who's gonna be a superstar? This is a superstar league now, and so everybody wants to be that person, and there needs to be some sharing if they're going to do it, or there needs to be some trades. I don't know who and
a lot of hero basketball. Basketball.
But Savon, that's kind of like what we've always been concerned about with the Sixers team for this year, is who are they going to run the offense through in the last 3 minutes of the game? And this was the perfect game where we could see what are they going to do in the last 3 minutes on the road in a Game 7. And it was just a lot of confusion. They didn't really go through Embiid in the post as you would expect. And Butler, it was some possessions with Butler, and Redick had a good stretch for the last half of the game, but really the last 3 possessions were really the confounding part of the Sixers' loss. What were your thoughts on kind of how the Sixers weren't able to execute their offense down the stretch?
Well, you can look at it in 2 different ways. One, they have so many weapons that they're just going to have to depend on one player on the basketball team. And then you look at it the other way, they need a clear-cut leader and a clear-cut guy they go through when time gets tough. I thought that was Jimmy Butler as soon as she was on the 76ers team. Normally it's Joel Embiid, but I think Jimmy was supposed to be the guy who had the ball in his hands. He's proven time and time again that he's a clutch player. Now, I've been preaching this a long time that these guys don't know how to play together. They don't know who's the dominant guy. No one knows how to play team basketball, the hero basketball with the 76ers. Now the process is going to be further along. Now Jimmy Butler leaves, definitely leaves. He doesn't stay. And then
Tobias Harris probably stays.
Probably stays. He'll get a bigger contract. They'll figure out what to do with Ben Simmons. I was kind of baffled the way they didn't delete Brett Brown, but maybe that's surprising. That's it. Sorry.
Micah was confident the last week that he was staying. So maybe he had some insight.
Maybe he did have an insight. I was kind of, taken back, like, okay, they need to clean house, but they're trying, I guess, to put some confidence and believe in him a little bit because he wasn't I didn't say he was a bad coach.
He's a good coach.
They were going to clean house to try to figure out what's the best solution for them moving forward as an entire unit, basketball team organization. But they believe in Brett Brown. But you have to figure out what to do with Ben Simmons. Now I'm not a Ben Simmons fan anymore. You have to figure out what to do with Ben Simmons. You have to.
So if you're the GM of the Sixers, are you listening to trade talks for Ben Simmons?
Yes, I'm listening to trade talks. But the thing is, who wants Ben Simmons without a shot?
Until Ben Simmons gets in the gym with Ray Allen or
anybody.
Robert
somebody.
Manu Ginobili.
We need somebody to get somebody to JJ can come and teach him. Get in the gym this summer and shoot the basketball. He's not.
It's just confounding that it seems like he's just content. Like, I'm just going to do everything inside the paint, move it in transition, and just not shoot.
He needs the other type of. He needs that weapon. Now he'll be even monster. Now that gives your offense another chance because now they fear your shooting. That's why Steph Curry is so good.
Nobody is scared of this man's shot
at all.
At all. He is a defensive. We don't care.
He's one-dimensional.
He needs to get in the gym.
He needs to do something. He needs to just take a break. I wouldn't say focus just on shooting because if you focus on one thing, then the other attributes and things that you're getting.
Then we're like,
we're
gonna be shocked by his production inside. It's like, wait, he's a better shooter, but his production inside is taking it.
Yeah, you gotta find that. Yeah, you have to find that balance, and it's possible. We've seen that around the league since forever. It's possible to be balanced.
Yeah, he needs to formulate a game around.
You have to figure out something. Because JJ's getting old. Joel Embiid is not going to change. He's not going to adapt. He's going to be Joel Embiid. Did y'all see him cry? Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
He cries like an elephant. You ever see an elephant cry? Go to YouTube and watch elephant cries.
You are so rude, bro.
That is kind of rude, Savon.
That's honest.
You were an apologist for the process. Now you're shaming Joel Embiid.
No, I was never a fan of the process. Let's be honest.
Okay.
I was never a fan of the process.
Well, he doesn't care about the process anyways. If you heard his post-game interview, he had some harsh words about the process.
Well, he need to figure out the process because he's part of the process and part of the problem. You need to figure it out. You need to learn how to play team basketball, not hero basketball. But I digress.
So, Andrew, do you think Butler leaves the summer just as Savon thinks?
Am I thinking he's going to leave?
Yeah.
What was the point of him going there then?
Yeah.
I think.
It was
a 1 year rental.
It was a better situation because he wasn't going to stay with the Timberwolves. I think that was the best situation, ideal logical situation for him.
Yeah.
On paper.
I don't know if they talk about it and they figure out how to.
Harris has to be a more consistent
then maybe
shooter.
He's
going to be the third guy.
But if they get in there and they start arguing about who's going to take the shot,
right? Then
he's going to go because he's got a personality to him.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice way to put it.
He wants to win basketball games, and he wants to be the one to win basketball games. So
I mean, but Savon, if he joins the Lakers, would he be a good presence in that locker room? Like, I don't think so.
Would. If you're coming from Stephen A. Smith, he says I'm gonna have a goon. If I was a GM, I would have a goon in my locker room. I think he fits well with LeBron because LeBron's probably the same way. I think he'll fit where he's to be that other presence that they need. If he goes to the Lakers, that'll be a great opportunity and a great fill-in for a couple guys they need to get rid of, like Pope.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? I'll go get started on the Lakers. There's a lot of things the Lakers need to do, but they got time. Ain't no rush.
Do they?
But yeah, they have time. I think Kobe said it the best.
I mean, they're not getting KD or Kawhi or Kyrie.
They're not going to get KD or they're not going to get Kawhi. Kawhi stays with the Toronto.
I know you feel as though Kyrie is going to go there, but
Kyrie's either going to go to the Lakers or the Knicks. Lakers or the Knicks.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to be playing with Zion. So
he's not going to be playing with Zion at all. I don't think Zion. You know what? I'm not going.
I think Zion's going to say it another year in Duke. He's like, I don't want to do this.
You know, we'll talk about that. I mean, that's a lot. That's one of the telling. Yeah. Okay, he has options.
So before we move on, in terms of like a brighter future, Nuggets or Sixers? What you guys say?
Nuggets.
Wow.
I would say the Nuggets too because I don't know what the future
Sixers plan.
And you kind of like the Nuggets are a good team. If the Sixers fall apart, then I don't know what they're gonna look like.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to go away from the number 2 team in the West when the West is kind of stacked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Transitioning to the Rockets, they lost last Friday to the Warriors and by 5 and 6, and you know Curry doesn't have any points in the first half or Rubs in the second half for 33. Clay had 27 as well. Harden had 35 and Chris Paul had 27. And you know, for the Rockets, they have this golden opportunity with Durant out. They're not able to close it out in Game 5. And it really feels as though since Durant has been out, it's been a guard based offense, just like it once was with Golden State in the past for their first 3 runs at a championship. But Andrew, what were your thoughts on Houston coming up short again? And is it more of Houston not taking advantage of it, or Steph and Clay kind of being unleashed?
What is this, like the 4th time in 5
4th time
that they've lost to Golden State?
It's becoming a reoccurring pattern.
Yeah, so maybe they just don't know. They don't got the formula yet. It's tough for them to keep losing like this, but also they set themselves up for this. I think getting how they played this season, and like they lost that last game of the season, which brought them to the seed that they were at. They wouldn't play, the Golden State as early as they did in the playoffs and stuff. But I don't know, Houston, they can't really figure it out, I guess. But also, how do you stop a man from shooting how he does? He has no points the first half and comes up with 33. Like, that's crazy. And it's not like they weren't playing defense. He's taking insane shots that you wouldn't think somebody is going to take that hadn't scored all half,
Mm-hmm.
He's still taking the shots he does. And then to back it up, you have Klay Thompson, who gets you a quiet 27. That's crazy. So I don't know, but the Rockets, they don't have it.
Like, what would you say that they need, like, in addition to, like, do you think they'll do you think they should move anybody or just try to find like another piece?
What can they do?
That's exactly. They're kind of
they can't do anything.
Yeah.
They're starting. What is it? Their starting 5 is still under contract.
Yeah.
They don't have no money, and they don't have no draft picks. So what are they going to do? What are they going to change? The coaching staff? No.
Exactly.
You can't move anybody around. You can't unless something, I don't know, you tell me.
Savon, this makes me think, it makes me revisit the Chris Paul contract, which we have talked about constantly. Like,
it's $38
is this a smart investment? was this a smart investment? And now there are serious questions about it being one. In terms of what Houston, coming up short again, like you've always felt as though Houston is gonna kind of do the same thing that they always do. James Harden flaming out in the postseason, even though he had a good game 6, 35, and I believe 12 or 13 points in the fourth. It's still not enough. What are your overall thoughts on Houston's loss, and also kind of Golden State stepping up with Steph and Clay and other like role players like Iggy?
Well, I said this last podcast, the Golden State Warriors without KD is still a Sunday. Sunday without a cherry is still a Sunday. I think people have forgotten or got complacent with the team, KD, and not knowing these guys like Clay and Steph and Draymond and Iguodala. These guys won championships without him. So I think that was a reawakening and let me reintroduce myself as a team without KD. We were good before, and just the resilience of Steph. Not a lot of people will get down, will stop shooting, will start passing. But second half, he came out and still
he was aggressive.
He was aggressive because he know that he's the leader of his team, and without him, they're not going to be as fluent. But you still have Clay, but still, Steph is a different monster. He brings another element to their offense and another element to their defense. But I forgot the other questions because I'm
in terms of like if Iguodala making 6, having I believe he made 5 or 6 3-pointers, and this is. It almost feels as though when Durant's there, it's more isolation based, more post ups, and they're obviously clearing away the best team when he's there. But it seems without him, even more role players step up. In addition to Steph and Clay, being very efficient scoring wise.
I mean, that's their MO. Like before KD even got there, Sean Livingston.
But what I'm saying is we haven't seen that as much when Durant was going off. Against the Clippers.
I mean, they don't have to.
Exactly.
They don't have to. When you have that type of rotation with 5 monsters, the rotation for the bench players is not going to be as potent, and they're not going to get the ball as much because you have other playmakers that you get the ball to, hence KD. When KD's going off for 50, 45 points, what does the bench need to do? To be honest, is just play good defense and give him the ball. But now that KD's they go back into the regular basketball scheme that they did before KD got there. And that's a testament to Coach Kerr, of knowing his personnel, knowing who goes with who, and just play basketball. That's great team basketball, no hero basketball. Everybody's for the team. Everybody has the same goal. That's the type of basketball team you want. And players, unselfish players that put it on the line for their entire team. Now, for the Houston Rockets, what they need, they hit it on the net. They can't do anything. To be honest. They have the top 10. They're number 8 of team payrolls. I think it's over 126.
They have one of the highest payrolls in the league.
Yeah, the top 8. And then Chris Paul is like top 4 players. I think he's over LeBron James. I think he's let me double check. It's Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, and Chris Paul number 3 at the highest pay contracts. Why did you give Chris Paul that amount of money? What did you think was going to happen? Now you can't get role players.
They thought they was going to win. What you mean? They thought
but
what it took to win.
In my mind, you don't have the type of players on your bench to be like, okay, let's give Chris Paul all that money. No, absolutely not. Who can you say on that bench that you have full belief in? I don't have belief in Austin Rivers half of the time.
Obviously, Gerald Green.
Gerald Green, no. I like PJ, but without the corner 3, PJ does not play good basketball. He plays good defense.
Very good defensive player.
Great defensive player. We saw that with KD. But other than that, that's it. And then Eric Gordon has been so inconsistent this year, it makes me sick. Because last year,
it seems like they could have used Luke Mute and Trevor Ariza.
See, boom, boom. Now you cannot do anything. Your salary, you don't have any money to move. And like Andrea said, they don't have any lottery picks. So now you just got to depend on a guy who's always injured. You got it. And then they don't have a game scheme. They don't have a scheme at all.
Yeah.
They rely on their shooting, and that's it. They have nothing else. If they're not shooting or not hitting the buckets, they're gonna lose. They don't have anything else. So you got the
So does
players, get a scheme.
any any thoughts on do you feel as though this in terms of like the blame pie, how much does D'Antoni get?
All of it.
Well,
All of
Big.
it.
All of it. For me, because it starts with you. You're
Oh
the head
God.
coach. Implement something. These guys are just playing dribble, isolation. Run some plays. Do you see what Steve Kerr plays are? I would copy the
Okay, wait.
triangle or whatever. They create plays to get people
Argue
open.
you say, Vaughn.
What?
You gonna make me argue with you?
Please
Don't
give
do
me your
this. Blame the
perspective
parents type
because that's
mentality.
insane.
No,
That's
these
insane.
basketball players are
Oh my
on the court
gosh.
doing what they want to do. Okay, you can't tell the man that is the arguably one of the best players in the league that can do literally anything he wants with the basketball. Roll, go through the lane, dribble, do all these things, shoot the ball with his eyes poked out. Okay, you gonna tell him run a play?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Run a play.
He's
Because when they rely on James Harden alone, they lose. We've seen it
yeah,
last year when Chris Paul ran the offense and allowed James to shoot.
they were close to
They
winning it.
drove the hole, gave the lanes open, and gave the shooting lanes. They ran plays last year, or some remotely close to a play.
okay.
Now you have shooters Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker. Run plays. Run plays. Get them open instead of watching them dribble. Nobody is going to be afraid of a dribble shoot. You're going to make it or miss it. If you
In the
miss it,
regular
you're going to
season, they
drop.
will, not in the postseason.
Okay.
Not in the
So
postseason, not at all.
You tell him don't do that?
You
How do you
take
tell him?
This is bread
you
and
allow
butter.
James to be James, but at the same time, hey James, whoop, whoop, 2, 3, whatever. Call a play. Mix it up because all they
I feel
do
like you
is
don't think they tried
isolation.
that though. You don't think they tried that?
Nah,
This man just don't
no.
listen.
Because D'Antoni
Let's just not
always
run a play,
says
guys.
we're a shooting team, we're offensive team. We don't care about defense. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he doesn't care about running plays. He lets them do what they want to do.
Yes.
Shoot the basketball. And I'm gonna say it one more time
That's how
for
he
everybody
coaches.
in the back to hear. 27 consecutive. 27 consecutive. That's without
You're
running
never gonna
plays.
let that go, Stephon.
Ever. That's good. That's down in history. If you, oh my gosh, as a head coach, if I see my team missing 27 consecutive threes, don't you think I'm gonna call a timeout and run a play? No. He said, hey guys, shoot it. Shoot the J. Shoot it. It doesn't matter. I have a contract for 3 more years. We can do this all day. Shoot it, James.
That's crazy. I think that you are insane for saying that. That's not what this man does.
That's exactly what he does. He does not run plays. Have you ever seen the Houston Rockets run a play?
That's not his fault, though.
What is it? He's the head coach. Do you see
Definitely Daryl
Steve
Morey.
Kerr will call a timeout and they'll run a play, a lot of screens. Yeah. You don't have to be scientific with it. Just run a bunch of screens. Get your guys open. It's more to just dribble, step back, dribble, drive lane, hope somebody's open. Oh, now I'm going to finish. Like, it's more to the isolation game. That's all they do. Isolation. That's all they do.
Okay.
That's on your coach. That's on your coach.
That's a fair point.
I can't believe you. I can't believe you.
That's hilarious.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Stephon, are you ready to talk about the most surprising lottery? The most surprising lottery result? I mean, I thought the Knicks, like, just, it was signed, sealed, and delivered that Zion was going to stroll into Madison Square Garden, but the Pelicans had other plans, I guess. You know?
Yeah, well, the universe had
David Griffin. Maybe the David Griffin magic kicked in. I don't know. He's a solid GM, but now, you know, Zion likely to go to New Orleans, and David, with the Davis trade talks, there was a report that he still wants out of New Orleans, and the Knicks have gotten into one of the teams he is interested in currently. But Stephon, with this lottery, what are your thoughts on Zion's fit with the Pelicans, and also just Anthony Davis's future in terms of where you think he'll likely go now?
I think it'll be a waste of time for him to go to the Pelicans, especially if AD wants to leave, because Zion is a great player, but I don't think he could change that organization around. He can't turn the organization around alone, and they don't have the type of players to help him if AD leaves. So he has what I say 7 to 8 years, peak years of playing great basketball, and then it kind of fades on him and wanes on a little bit. I'd rather him either stay at Duke another year because he's gonna go number one next year anyways, or step out from Duke, go play overseas for a year, come back, put your name in, and go number one. Those options are better for him to go to the Pelicans, to be honest, because he's going to be another player that gets killed by an organization like Kemba Walker. I can name you about 20, but I will save us the time. Number one off the bat is Kemba Walker. Finally, he leaves and show how great as a player he is with another organization. But if he goes to the Pelicans and stays for like 5-6 years, he's going to be miserable because they will not find players to put around him, especially if AD leaves. But you said AD. I'd rather him go to the Lakers. But that won't happen.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. It would happen. It was gonna trade their whole rookie draft team in the year before that.
And it just would have been Josh Hart, LeBron, and Anthony Davis.
But it won't happen. If he goes to the Knicks, I mean, they have
I mean, it would pretty much Jordan, be the next super team.
Yeah, it would be. And then I think they're number 3 on the lottery.
Yeah, where they would get Barrett.
Yeah.
Barrett, Kyrie, Durant, Anthony Davis.
Oh no, not everybody's not going over there. Not everybody.
I know, but
that would be insane. But how would they pay everybody? That's the thing. Because KD's going with the
max contract.
Kyrie's going with the max contract.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that much money.
So in terms of Zion's possible fit with the Pelicans, if AD does go, Andrea, how would you see that going? Like, do you think he should stay another year at Duke or just start with the Pelicans?
Oh, I was just reading articles about all of this today, and I just think a lot of people have opinions, and I think we just got to see what happens for real. Like, he's the only one that can make the decision, and it's going to be interesting either way that, like, what he does. If he stays at Duke, like, they were building stuff, they're winning at Duke, so, enjoy that if he does that. If he decides to go to the NBA and the Pelicans, maybe save on, they might switch some stuff around. Like, maybe this is the universe changing some things.
Yeah, sure.
No.
And
I think there are conversations going around, Anthony Davis, are you going to stay because now you have this opportunity to have this young player come and be great with you, or, how is that talk going? It's interesting. I'm not in those meetings, so I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm going to be excited to see either way what happens with this young man.
Did you guys see his response? Like, when he
looked so deflated by it.
Yeah, you saw
like
his legs.
He was just like, really? Like,
the
Pelicans?
He wanted to go to the Knicks or the Knicks. So
it was one of the most deflated responses you'll see from a top pick. He was like, really? Like, Anthony Davis is not gonna. He probably already knows, like, Davis is not gonna stay there.
Yeah, I mean, he watches ESPN and.
RJ's a lot happier, I would say. Would you agree? Or maybe not.
I'm sorry.
I thought same. I was gonna say. I mean, yeah, I guess, but I mean, these kids, they're kids. I don't know how they or what they're thinking. This is millions of dollars staring in their face. It's a lot of media and people and pressure staring in their face. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you should either stay with Duke or go overseas for a year, because it's more to it. It's
Danny
a lot
Ferry
of money.
did that.
Yeah, he did. There's a lot of money into it, but just thinking about how they just fired their general manager. I don't know who they hired to replace him, but how that organization moves, You get DeMarcus Cousins, you get rid of DeMarcus Cousins. I don't think they know how to put players around good players. So I would do
So
if I
maybe they have
was.
somebody to do that, and then
It's a lot of possibilities and maybes. But for a young kid who's at the peak, going to be at his peak of his career,
Mhm.
I think the investment will be either to stay at Duke another year, get some more knowledge, get under Coach K a little more, get you a championship, and then go to NBA because NBA is not going anywhere. He's gonna be number one pick regardless. Next year, next 3 years, he's the next big thing. So everybody's gonna be waiting for him. If I was him, I would stay at Duke. Hey, I'm
But
not even
then
gonna
what if
rush.
he? I mean, injury does. What if he like is because we saw what happened last year, and if something like that happens again and it's even more severe, I don't know if he wants to just. It's there for the taking for him right now. I mean, he's the clear cut, number one anyways. But I just wonder if he doesn't want to risk that again because that was a really kind of a sporadic type of injury,
I mean, that's a good point as well. But he could get injured
and
with
even
the
in the NBA.
Pelicans
Yeah.
in the NBA. So and then be out for multiple whatever it doesn't. We won't wish that on him. But if he did get injured, we don't know what type of injury it would be. But it'll be the same thing. It'll be the same exact thing. He'll be making a lot more money in NBA. But I'd rather him not put himself in that position to be just a player, a good player on a terrible team like we see it throughout the NBA with different players. I don't want that for him. He's the
Yeah.
next. Well, LeBron James did it, which is ironic. LeBron did it. He came into a situation where the Cavaliers were terrible and he brought
Mhm.
them up, but they had different pieces. Then it was a different time in different pieces. The talent was kind of, you know, but whatever. But whatever he does is going to be best for him and his family. Whatever if he does. What if the No. What if the Pelicans doesn't grab him? They grab
Would they get?
Morant or Barrett.
This is what I was about to ask. If you guys are the Memphis Grizzlies, would you take Morant or Barrett?
Oh, Savon, that's a you question.
Wow, well, I gotta put no. I'm gonna give that to you.
That's a definite you question.
So, well, they have two different styles
Yeah,
for me.
completely different styles. Yeah.
I like Morant because he finishes. I love players who love to put the ball on the ground, create his own shot, and finish at the rim.
Hmm.
I think that'll be a good fit for Memphis. But also, they need a shooter. And I think Barrett can be that type of shooter. He does stay innovative shots sometimes. He does force a lot of shots, but I think he can hone his talent with Grizzlies. But I like Morant better. I think he fits better with the Grizzlies. The type of style they need. They need that type of guy
And he
who's
can
going to
learn from
put the
Mike
ball
Conley.
down. That too. And Mike Conley is a similar type of basketball because Conley can shoot, but he puts the ball down, he creates his own shot, and he finishes at the rim.
Yeah.
I love that. I love when James. I'm gonna switch it up. I love when James doesn't shoot. I love when he finishes at the rim. When he size him up, boom, 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 shakes you, finish at the rim with the left hand. It's magical. You know what I'm saying? But
It is.
I'm from a different breed of watching basketball. I love people
Yeah.
who can finish at the rim. But Morant is, I think, a better fit for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I would agree.
Thanks, Andrea, for sitting at my weight, even though that was your question.
Of course, you said this. And you would have a
She's
great.
like, I like that analysis. Let's move on. Go ahead. Transitioning to Blazers Warriors. The Warriors just won game 2 by 3. Steph has 37. Clay has 24. Lillard and McCollum combined for 45. And Andrew, with this series, obviously, I mean, Steph, he has a phenomenal game 1 performance. Lillard and McCollum struggle in game 1. This game, the Portland's up for most of it, and then Golden State's able to rally to get a commanding 2-0 lead. What have been your thoughts on what you've seen so far in this series, and also kind of Portland's like turnover issues in game 1? I don't think they had as many in game 2, but kind of just how they're just trying to adjust to defend Steph in the series.
Yeah. First of all, they didn't play well in game 1. If they were, Damian to play the tenaciousness and how he played against, Russell Westbrook, and then to come and play the Nuggets, and then here it doesn't seem like the same person in game one. I don't think
at all.
And then McCollum, they had 36 points combined, right? That was game one. I think that was bad, and then their offensive rebounding, that's what was getting them through the playoffs, and they weren't doing it in game one, and maybe that was because they had such a small lineup to guard Steph. But it's turnovers, it's the pick and roll. They did it better in this game. I was just watching. They had a better defensive scheme for the pick and roll, but they did not do that well in game one.
The bigs were way too far off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it is a lot to stop Steph Curry. It's a lot to stop Klay Thompson. It's a lot that these guys have to do. It's a big ask of them. So, they haven't done it in 2 games. I don't know. They got to win a game to see if I'm gonna give them some credit for making it this far.
I mean, and Savon, they were extremely close. I mean, I think they were leading for most of game 2, not able to close it out. Like, how concerning do you feel as though this was like their last best chance to get back in the series, or do you think they can kind of turn it around at home?
It's going to take a lot, and I hate to say this, but I think McCollum and Damian Lillard is going. What's? Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you said.
I was just waiting on you saying I'm about to say something, and I was like, oh, what was you about to say?
I think they're gonna be gassed. I think they're gonna run out of gas.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because these guys, I think Lillard played 43 minutes and McCollum played 39, and I think the first game it was the same way. Killer minutes, and it's a lot to guard these guys and go back on the offense and try to do the same. So they don't have enough. I definitely hate Kanter. I hate Kanter on both sides of the basketball. The first game, I didn't watch the second game, but first game, he did not close out on shooters well enough. And he didn't rebound.
He just got lost in that pick and roll. Like, oh man.
Yeah, Steph was like, yeah, we definitely can get some good looks against him. I mean, like, Golden State knows, like, he's a liability.
But Collins didn't do any better coming in, so I don't know.
Yeah, and so Savon, if there's a third guy that in terms of a third guy that has to step up, like whether it be Harkless or Rodney Hood, or maybe even one of the bigs, is there a third person in addition to McCollum and Lillard playing better at home that you think it's kind of essential for them to step up? Because we talked about it even in Game 7, like Micah and you both agreed that Rodney Hood had to be that guy.
And I'm going to switch that up. I think Kanter has to be that guy. Kanter, step up, because if you give those guys just an ounce, just an inch or whatever
of daylight,
seeing the rim, they're going to shoot your lights out. And the bigs have to. I think the Rockets played it really well. They closed out on those guys. It was like they had to make like circus shots from the 3-point line behind the arc. But if you close out, make them shoot those crazy shots. But with Kanter or Clint, no, not Clinton, but that's the Rockets. But if Kanter cannot close out,
let's play them again.
I'm telling you, look, man, I really don't like Kanter. I see why the Knicks got rid of him, and then he was like, "Oh, that was the best thing."
We weren't saying that against OKC and Denver, though. I mean,
yeah, he was non-existent. He was non-existent with the series with Westbrook. Then with the OKC, that was his better series, and he still ain't do phenomenal or anything. But the Nuggets series, he looks like a joke. Jokic really made him look like a joke. In this series, he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, what are you doing? I literally see him just turn around on a pick and roll and try to go get the rebound, and they made it. I'm like, dude, close out. What are you doing? Close out. But he has to be the one, because without a big stepping up, they're going to go small and they're going to shoot your lights out.
Yeah. So if in terms of Golden State, because it came out tonight that Durant's not going to be there for Game 3 or Game 4,
or back to Game 5.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
What are your guys' thoughts currently on kind of like for looking ahead, if Golden State advance to the finals, like how do you guys foresee? Do you see like a huge issue with him getting acclimated back in, like in terms of the Warriors not being at full strength in the finals, either against Milwaukee or Toronto? Like how do you guys foresee that kind of being an issue?
Wait.
If Durant's not 100%.
First of all, the Warriors are at full strength.
Oh yeah, but I
just
mean,
because they don't have Durant doesn't mean
that's the perception.
They won without him. That's what I keep telling people. But it's just good to have him. I'm sad to hear that he's not coming back. I think he did something with that Achilles. They're saying it started as a mild calf strain, and being, my profession, I think that something with his Achilles, he has to get stronger, and there's a lot of things that go into that. So him being out, they just have to do what they've been doing these last 2 games now. Just create their offense around, who they're creating it around, and they just don't have that extra 30 points that they're putting on people.
Yeah.
And, with KD.
The luxury that they always have.
Yeah.
So Savon, do you feel as though it's just kind of, I mean, not as, I mean, obviously you want to have them, but it seems as though they're just still kind of staying afloat and, still dominant with their backcourt.
I think so. And then they're going to rely on their bench more throughout the series, because I know Clay had big minutes, Steph had big minutes, I think 41, 39, and Draymond had big minutes, Iguodala had big minutes. Yeah. But they kind of give those guys a break. When KD was there, it was a break for everybody, to be honest, because if they needed somebody to shoot or take over, they'll just let KD do it. But now they have to depend on more of their starters. But I think they know how to. They've been here before. They understand what they need to do to win, and they have the pieces. It's like they say, the next man up, and they have plenty of people that can take over games like this. So those guys are going to be fine without KD. They've proven it before. They're going to prove it again. They're the same team, but just a little cherry on the top to give you the extra flavor, the extra garnish, what you need to, whatever. I don't know where I was going with that analogy, but it's okay. But no, I think they're a great team without them. So, I mean, if everybody stays healthy, because Steph had a little injury in the series before, so if everybody stays healthy, they'll be fine. Now they're beatable. They're beatable.
That's what I mean, because if KD's in there and they're playing Milwaukee or Toronto, like, you feel confident, but I mean 100% confident. If he's not there, like, you still would give the edge to Golden State, but they're a little, to me, they would be a little more vulnerable in a series like that.
Now, if Milwaukee comes out of the Raptors series, I don't think anybody on that team can guard. I don't think Iguodala can guard.
There's some huge defensive issues in a series like that.
Yeah, I think so. And then Chris Middleton will have a field day shooting, but that's the other way around too. Who's going to guard Steph? Who's going to guard Clay? Who's going to guard a streaky Draymond Green if he gets hot? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's the same way with Brook Lopez. I think it'll be well balanced, but they're definitely beatable. All you got to do is take away, close out, and make them shoot circus shots. That's how you beat them. Because if they're on, they're gonna be on regardless. You can't do anything about it. Put a hand in their face, whatever. Get some pom poms and shake it in their face while they shoot. It doesn't matter what you do. They're gonna make the basketball if they're hot.
That could be effective though. I don't know. Pom poms.
Perhaps, but just close out. Make the picker. Make them work for it. Make them work. Get the full 24 on the clock. Just don't give them open shots because they're going to take them regardless.
Yeah, and transitioning to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Bucks were able to win by 8, and Brook Lopez had 13 of his 29 in the fourth. Giannis had a quiet 24, but still the Milwaukee's able to win it. Kyle Lowry has I believe 30. Was it 34? Yeah, 30 points, and Kawhi has 31. And this is a type of game where Toronto really has, it seems like they really have a chance to steal game one. They're not able to do it. Andrew, what were your thoughts on Brook Lopez's performance, and also kind of how Toronto can adjust for like a really essential game 2 win?
Well, I didn't get to watch the game the way I wanted to watch it. It was on at work, but every time I looked up, it was Lopez shooting a three in the corner,
Exactly.
or coming down and just going crazy. So, I don't know. This is again. I got to pass it to Savon because I didn't.
Oh, here you go, Savon.
Oh, again? Come on, I'm not ready yet.
Savon's like, I'm still getting my data.
I'm afraid of because these guys are playing big minutes. I know I keep saying that. These guys are playing huge minutes. Kawhi
Wait,
played
but before you
42.
start, Savon, Andrew, who did you have in the series before it started? Who did you think was going to win?
In the series, I want the Bucks to win because I think
Okay.
I do want the Bucks to, but I just was talking to my dad about this. I wouldn't be mad if Toronto won.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad. I think Kawhi and them deserve it.
We Savon, we'd like to see a fun guy in the finals. We'd like to see a fun guy in the finals, right?
A fun guy? I'm not following.
I'm a fun guy.
Oh, okay. I knew it went over my head. Okay, I got it.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm laughing at his laugh. I just picture the video in my head of laughing. Like that's. Would you hang out? We talked about this.
I don't think
would
you
you
would.
hang out with a guy who laughed like
I
that?
don't think you would.
Listen, stop.
Okay, thank you. That's what I would not hang. He cannot laugh around me. Laugh in silence. Just look.
Okay, just don't tell jokes.
Just don't say anything. Kawhi.
Yeah.
As soon as you tell a joke, you
But
look
I'm
at
sorry,
Kawhi.
I'm sorry
Kawhi,
for
don't you
Rabbit
do
Trail.
it? Don't you do it?
That's crazy.
But can I
back
go
to
ahead?
basketball for real?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean that's about a basketball, but no, I'm afraid of these guys are playing big minutes. I keep saying that for all these teams, but that plays a role because they just came out of a tough series before, and now you're going back. These guys playing 40. Kawhi played 42. Gasol played 40. Lowry played 40. Danny Green would play 35.
He
So
struggled a lot.
Yeah, he struggled, and that was kind of like a surprise for me because he's been here before and
He's one
he
of the most
stepped up a
poised,
big
yeah,
exactly, especially with the Spurs. So it's kind of like what's going on this year? It is the first game, so they kind of weeded things out and seeing how they, you know what I'm saying. But
yeah,
if these guys continue to play big minutes, then I'm kind of the wear and tear, especially if you got to go to the NBA Finals. If you go a full game 7 or either game 6, you still have to play a team over there that's probably going to sweep the Trailblazers. It's possible. So just the amount of minutes that they're playing is kind of alarming to me. So they need to figure something out, but they don't have the players to kind of like move people around. So
because it really feels as though Toronto doesn't have the weapons that Milwaukee does. Like Kawhi has to be superhuman almost every night, even though a Lowry performance with 30 points still isn't enough to win. And I feel like that's kind of the deflating factor because Brogdon has 15, Mirotic is 13. When Milwaukee, with Milwaukee closing on a 10-0 run, in terms of game 2, like what do you feel as though just them using the same strategy in terms of what they did, even with Siakam getting off to a good start, and them just having to close it, or do you feel as though more contributions from role players has to be kind of necessary for them to steal one on the road?
I think it's going to start with. Oh, sorry.
Oh man, I was really about to answer this because I was really thinking about this. They have to get somebody else involved, whether it's a big, whether it's some type of pick and roll situation, something. They need one more factor that's going to be different for these because the Bucks they got a monster over there.
Yeah.
That you gotta stop. You have to defend that and then still score on the other end. And like Savon says, like, do they have enough gas for all of that?
Mm-hmm.
To piggyback off that, I think it starts with the defense. I think you have to take away from the 3-point line, especially Chris Middleton didn't have a great game that game, but Brook Lopez was on fire, and it was because of the driving lanes that Giannis creates. So you have to put. I don't know if you try to focus just on Giannis and that leaves guys open, or let Giannis get to the paint I know that's kind of bizarre. Let Giannis get to the paint, foul and whatever you got to do, but don't let the other guy shoot. You got to close out on those good guys. I know that they didn't think Brook Lopez was going to be shooting that good. He improved from last year from when he came from the Lakers on to the Bucks, but you can't give him a wide open look. That's the same thing with Draymond Green. Draymond Green is a sneaky 3-point shooter. If you leave him open enough, he's going to make you pay for it. And that's what Brook Lopez
when
did
he's
the first
knocking down
game.
threes, it's like it's not even possible to beat the Warriors then.
Yeah, it's definitely impossible because everybody shot. If Draymond is hot from 3-point line, oh gosh, it's funny, but it's a nightmare for the
He's
for
still
the opposing
shooting
team.
like he has a back.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, they haven't played good defense.
Let me put
They
one up
stopped
for
leaving
Polish. But in terms of this game too, Savannah, do you feel as though Toronto will make the necessary adjustments, or do you feel Milwaukee will be able to get this one as well? Either one of you can answer this one.
Oh, she didn't want to jump at this one, but she wanted to jump at the other one.
I mean, I can answer it. I think Toronto's gonna win. They gotta win a game at home.
At the Road.
Yeah. So I think they can do it. It would be cool to see if they do. They gotta change some things different. And like you said, that's a good. You made a good point. Like with Lowry, he doesn't show up in playoff games, and for him to score 30 points, and then for them to lose they lost by how many? 4?
8.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
They gotta step up. I would like to see them win the next game, and maybe it'll be like how it happened last series with the Celtics and the Bucks. They just do some adjustments, and then all of a sudden the next game it's a whole different scheme. You never know. But go ahead, Savon.
Oh, thank you. You gave me the floor. How can I follow that though? That was so profound. I think they just have to finish in the fourth quarter. They just have to finish.
That kind of seems like the blueprint.
That's the blueprint. They don't know how to finish sometimes without Kawhi having to finish. They don't have another closer. Kawhi is the closer. So they get outshoot 32-17 in the fourth quarter. That can happen, especially when you're
the last
extreme
3 minutes. They didn't score like the last 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
You can't do that and expect to win.
Definitely can't do that. I don't know if it was fatigue that played a role in them not being able to make any points in the last 3 minute games. That you can make a case for it.
I mean, after a team gets off a dramatic game 7, it's always interesting to see how they kind of respond for the next game.
Yeah, and it was like bang bang, game 7. All right, we on that high
and
now. We gotta play. You gotta play a good team in Milwaukee, and they get punched in the mouth. They came out on fire though. Came out on fire in the first quarter.
They had a good response. I mean, a good beginning.
Yeah, and the second, third quarter's kind of balanced, and maybe they got gas. You can make the case for it.
It's confounding that a 10-0 run is what sealed the deal against them.
Yeah, they gotta finish. They gotta finish. Just finish. They were there.
Yeah. Before we close it out, though, who would you guys rather? Who do you guys feel as though could give the Warriors a better matchup in the finals if they advance?
Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, they have a bench.
That would be a very good finals, I think.
Absolutely.
I think so too. Yeah. A lot of big man threes. Ooh, you didn't talk about Brogdon.
Brogdon, yeah, he's back.
He's back.
15
points, but
I feel like he's
minutes.
The X factor for Milwaukee, outside of Giannis and Middleton.
It's gonna be interesting. I want to see if Middleton wakes up a little bit, maybe because he didn't have to. Lopez kind of
is Middleton kind of your favorite player in the league? You talk about Middleton a lot.
No, he's definitely not my favorite player in the league. I think he's underrated. I'm a big fan of people who are underrated, and Chris Middleton is one of those guys. He does team basketball, and he's clutch when he needs to be, and he's a great attribute on the team. I just like underrated guys. They need to get that limelight. Need to get say they praise. So
yeah,
he's not my favorite player. Oh no, can't say that. I don't have a favorite player anymore. He retired.
Wow,
like many years ago.
I was waiting to hear who your favorite player was, but
Oh no, I mean, if it's anybody, I'm fond of LeBron James.
Okay.
I'm fond of LeBron. Literally, it used to be before. Again, since you asked, it used to be when Shaquille O'Neal retired. I'm still a huge fan of Shaquille O'Neal. That's my favorite player of all time. It was Dwight Howard because I was a big Orlando Magic fan after that. I like Dwight, and then after Dwight, he kind of like fell off. I was like, well, let me jump on the bandwagon.
Fell off.
And then I started liking KD. I started liking KD, and I used to have all his shoes, backpacks, all kinds of stuff. And then now, I mean, he's not my favorite. I don't know, whatever. I'm bandwagon. Basketball, I'm a bandwagon.
Going on a tangent.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Well, that wraps it up for tonight.
Hold on, wait, what?
You talking all this about Dwight Howard and stuff? Like that's enough, Savon.
When you started talking
Dwight
about
Howard wasn't on top of the world though. Dwight was on top of the world for like 4 years. He was like the best big man for like 4 years.
Yeah. Okay.
In those 4 years, I was a fan. He hasn't. I'm not a fan now. I'm not a fan now. I was a fan when they should have beat. They should have beat the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Freaking Courtney Lee.
Remember that Bonnet super team? Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant.
Oh gosh, that was not a super team. Kobe didn't want to play with Dwight. And then Steve Nash was old and he was injury prone and he didn't know how to play anymore. It was just a whole bunch. That was a super team. That was a bunch of old guys reminiscing. That's what that was. A bunch of old guys reminiscing.
Yeah. Well, Andrea, thank you for being back on it. It was a pleasure as always.
Of course. Thanks again for having me.
Oh, round of applause, Savon.
Wow. All right. Well,
that wraps it up for tonight. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.